Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another and I guess the final episode of this Endsieg campaign played in the 1944 scenario. So, as you may have already guessed from the title of this series, this is finally the episode in which I managed to achieve the Endsieg, so the final victory, at least against the Soviet Union. Um, let's say things, as always, did not start as expected, because I was not expecting to see another. I think I lost the count of the count of how many times the Allies tried to invade in the Balkans. I think it was 3 or 4. But yeah, the Americans landed the beauty of 5 divisions, 3 armored and 2 infantry divisions along the coast. And since I had a bunch of airplanes around the area, I said, okay, let's just provide some air support. And interestingly, the Italians there managed to hold the American off, despite the Americans having full control of a port. On the Eastern Front, I was like, okay, let's let's try something new, as the Red Army was completely thinned. They had roughly 1 division per tile compared to the 3 or 4 of my armies. But instead of launching a full-scale attack, I was like, no, let's try again to do those huge, massive, enormous encirclements. And this is what I decided to do. On one hand, Paul Hauser from the south, I think it was, and von Manteuffel from the north, they started a massive, a gigantic pincer movement to just trap as many Soviet divisions as possible, as I always like to do. And yeah, the one Soviet division got trapped in the advance. I mean, it really reminded me of what what was happening during real life when the German Panzer Spearhead were dashing into the Soviet Union, and they were catching the enemy divisions off guard and even trapping them and capturing them. And the 2 spearhead of the Panzer groups, they were advancing. The von Manteuffel group from the north, of course, reached the Urals way before Paul Hauser Panzer group, and as those divisions were already in place next to Ufa at the feet of the Urals, I manually redirected them to advance again westward to shrink this huge pocket, almost, I would say, empty, because the Soviets really ran out of troops. I must say, yeah. And to prevent the Soviets from escaping actually into this outside of this pocket. And a small spoiler alert: the Soviets actually managed to break through at some point. I don't remember when this happened, but they did it. And luckily, I had von Manteuffel's Panzer Grenadier divisions ready and standing by to seal the pocket once again. And for the first time, exactly that was the moment in which the Red Army broke through my lines, and they re-established connection with the outside world. And I was kind of panicking, because I was like, no, they must not escape, they have to be trapped, they will be trapped in here, and I will have no mercy against them. One interesting thing that I saw is that the British actually landed 3 or 5 divisions next to Arkhangelsk, and those 3 divisions were just surrounded and annihilated west of Arkhangelsk. I just felt sorry for those poor mates, because they were really fighting a war on the wrong side, I think. Yeah. Anyway, as always, whenever I tried to attempt those huge pockets, it's actually, I realized it's a bit counterproductive, because then you have to manually direct your troops to shrink this cauldron into smaller pockets, and then one by one you have to annihilate them. and you have to direct your troops. Once the battle is over, you have to always, pay attention. Pay attention in not getting encircled yourselves, like again happened there in the south, where one infantry division got just surrounded by the enemy. But I think the Soviets were too exhausted, or too demoralized, or too weak to attempt and destroy that lonely infantry division. No need to say that the Panzer divisions of Hauser and von Manteuffel, they quickly rushed towards their new positions. And Guderian, in the meantime, Guderian was advancing northwards. The idea of Guderian panzers was just to cut off the Finnish the Finnish troops and the Soviet troops in Karelia and Murmansk, and then to annihilate again this small pocket, just to liberate as many troops as possible for a future advance along the Eastern Front. And as the number of pockets was being reduced, the enemy began focusing around Stalingrad. And I don't know if at this point there was a kind of scripted event that gave the Soviets a bunch, I think they were 15 divisions for free, but at some point I was like, oh my god, what are all those troops doing in here? Yeah, I was not expecting that, honestly, and I was not expecting to see to face such a fierce resistance around Stalingrad. One interesting aspect of the map is that cities like Stalingrad and Moscow, they are surrounded by I would say a ring of provinces, and it's kind of interesting because this kind of mimics the tremendous attrition that you have to fight if you want to take those two provinces. And this tremendous attrition is what I had to fight also on my own while attempting to take Stalingrad. And history tells us that panzers are not really the best combination to fight in a urban context, while in Hearts of Iron 4, well, looks like that they are, especially if you have heavy panzers supported by engineers. They just don't care, that they just smash through everything. And yeah, by using my 5 schwere Panzerabteilungen, the heavy tank detachment, yeah, I just quickly overrun the enemy defenses, and as always, once again, many thanks to the support of the Luftwaffe. At this point, with Leningrad taken, I was like, okay, let's just push as fast as possible towards the oil fields of Baku, because at this point, having already, let's say, killed 21 million Soviet soldiers at the price of just 1 million of German ones, my goal was just to rush for the enemy victory points and try to trigger the peace event as soon as possible. And as I could not wait Paul Hauser Panzer Group to slowly advance into the Caucasus, I manually redirected the 233rd Reserve Panzer Division for a quick dash towards Baku, because it has 20 victory points, that province. And on the Eastern Front, the infantry of Model and Maximilian von Beix was directed against a general advance towards the Urals and beyond, while Guderian was finishing the cleaning of the Karelian, of the Finnish areas. Well, this is when everything ended. Guys, thank you very much for watching, thank you very much for supporting the channel, stay tuned, and see you all very, very soon.